हेलो बच्चों, वेलकम टू दी बायोलॉजी सेशन फॉर दी क्रैश कोर्स ऑफ ह्यूमन हेल्थ एंड डिजीज। एज यू अवेयर कि आज जो हम लोग टॉपिक डिस्कस करेंगे स्पेसिफिकली विल कवर द बेसिक ऑफ इम्यूनिटी एंड ऑल। मतलब ह्यूमन हेल्थ एंड डिजीज में बेसिक चीजें हम लोग कवर अप कर लेंगे। स्पेसिफिकली जब आप बात करते हो तो देयर आर टू थिंग्स यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड। व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय इम्यूनिटी? इम्यूनिटी इज नथिंग बट दी इट्स इंडिविजुअल्स पावर। अगर इससे इन शॉर्ट अगर मैं बोलता हूँ, इट इज लाइक, अगर मैं बोलता हूँ to the antigen, the chemical which has been produced by the body is known as antibody. So it's nothing but the chemical produced by host in response to the antigen. ओके बच्चों, तो ये चीज हमेशा रखना, इम्यूनिटी इज नथिंग बट दी एक इंडिविजुअल जो रेजिस्टेंस प्रोवाइड करेगा किसी भी, मतलब जब हमारे बॉडी में कोई इंजरी होती है या कोई भी इन्फेक्शन होता है उसके अगेंस्ट, बिकॉज ऑफ दी जो भी हमारा पैथोजन होता है, पैथोजन मीन एनी फॉरेन पार्टिकल हो सकता है और उसका कोई प्रोडक्ट हो सकता है जिससे हमारे बॉडी में इम्यून सिस्टम एक्टिवेट हो जाती है, उसे हम लोग कहते हैं इम्यूनिटी। और एंटीजन स्पेसिफिकली इम्यूनिटी की जब बात करते हैं हम लोग, so first will be your innate immunity। अच्छा, इनर इम्यूनिटी मतलब क्या? द इम्यूनिटी इज अ नॉन स्पेसिफिक जो हमारा प्रेजेंट रहेगा हमारा सिंस बर्थ में, मतलब इट विल बी बाय बर्थ, इट्स नॉन स्पेसिफिक। हाँ, उसके बाद आपका ये हमारा इट सिंपली इट प्रोवाइड्स बैरियर्स, दैट टू बी डिफरेंट बैरियर्स। ओके, तो सबसे पहला अगर इसमें हम लोग देखेंगे, सबसे पहला जो आएगा दैट विल बी आवर फिजिकल बैरियर। इसे हम लोग देखेंगे फिजिकल बैरियर। अभी फॉर एग्जांपल जब भी बात करेंगे हम लोग फिजिकल बैरियर की, सो बैरियर, फिजिकल बैरियर्स आर नथिंग बट दी, स्पेसिफिकली अगर मैं बोलूं उसमें तो आपका आएगा एनीथिंग विच विल प्रिवेंट द डायरेक्ट एंट्री ऑफ द पैथोजन इन योर बॉडी इज नोन एज द फिजिकल बैरियर। सो इट कुड बी इंक्लूड योर स्किन, it could be include your mucus. So the membrane which will be preventing the entry of the pathogen in our body is known as the physical barrier. So skin and the mucous membrane are the one of the most commonly common example of the physical barrier। Specifically अगर देखेंगे हम लोग mucous lining जो हमारा epithelial lining होता है, respiratory, GI tract, urogenital tract, ये आ जाएगा। Even हमारा skin if you look at the skin, the topmost layer stratum corneum or the epidermis, simple, which will doesn't allow the pathogen to enter in our body, और अपने बॉडी में एंटर करने नहीं देगा तो क्या होगा? सो बच्चों आज होता है, अगर हम लोग हमारे स्किन का नॉर्मल फ्लोरा भी लेते हैं and we if you culture it, so we get the different types of pathogen which could be hazardous for the human, but the thing is that this bacteria could not able to percolate inside our body because of the our skin will be act as a barrier and doesn't allow these bacteria to penetrate inside the body. Then we talk about the second, it's your physiological barrier. It will be like destroy the unwanted cells, unwanted foreign organisms which are there in our body. So these are the one which will kill. So any foreign particle, if suppose one of the most important things that suppose they cross the physical barrier, then they also cause the physiological barrier. Then also they could able to proceed further and reach into the body. Then in our body, this phagocytic cell, what they will do? They will kill them. They will engulf them, invade them. Okay. Then the last one is bacho, is your cytokine barrier, which are also known as inflammatory barrier. So what do you mean by inflammatory barrier? So these are the certain things like inflammatory, like whenever there is a tissue injury is there, so body will release certain, like you can see, there's a injury happens to the tissue, you can see redness, there's a swelling, there's a slight elevation of the temperature has been there. So it will produce the certain localized heat production has been there. So these are all the process which happens comes under the cytokine barrier, inflammatory barrier. In response to due to like there are certain chemicals which has been released by the in our body like histamines, prostaglandins. These are the one whenever there is a damage to this cell and this will lead to the release of certain chemicals, and these chemicals act as a like inflammatory barriers. These are known as cytokine barriers. Okay, so in fact this is all about your innate immunity. So we will talk about the acquired immunity. So in acquired immunity, they are specific. They are the one specific. The ability to body defend itself against the foreign particle like bacteria and transparent tissue by showing the specific response. So in that is the basic. These are the they are specific. सबसे पहला and most important topic जब हमारा innate immunity रहता है that is your non-specific, but this is the one which will be a highly specific. Specific रहेगा और specificity होने की वजह से this will the one which will kill the specific bacteria, pathogen, any foreign particle which enters in our body, it will destroy it. Then specifically acquired immunity is the one which will be like the person is been like individual acquire some by the some of the exposure. So some for this you require exposure. Okay, so for this you require exposure. Exposure means unless and until your body get exposed to the foreign particles, your body will not going to produce the this kind of immunity. So that's why this is known as acquired. Whenever body get exposed to the any foreign particle and all, they are the one it will be like they are me. And in short, suppose there is a suppose a person who has been suffering from the salmonella, get infected with the salmonella typhi, the body will show a different kind of response like to the person who has been suffering from the plasmodium infection. So that will be the this acquired immunity will be specific for organism to organism, for pathogen to pathogen. Okay, so we'll talk about this one acquired immunity. So one of the most, there are certain features we need to understand. So they are highly target specific, they are specific. So as I earlier said, so they will be specific time of response will be shown by the body to the specific infection like salmon. The response to the salmon type is different, the response to the Klebsiella is different, the response to the fungal infections is, so body shows different kind of response to different type of organisms. So they are highly target their specificity. Then diversity has been there, so it can show as you aware there are different kinds of pathogens are there. So in fact body will not show, body can recognize variety of the diverse pathogen or foreign particles from with respect to our body. So diversity is there means whatever mean there are lots of infection infection causing organisms are there, but body will show the response according to it. Then there are the they shows discrimination between the cell. So body can recognize which are your own cells, which are our different, which are the foreign particles. So body can recognize and they show this different kind of response to a different kind of pathogen. So they can discriminate between the like your with us the pathogens which are body's own cells. So they can make a differentiate in it. And the last one is your memory. Yes. If a person who is suffering from some of the other disease, when he get infected similar kind of organism, body's response will be much faster. So as you aware, the person who has been suffering in the last few years back, we suffer like almost 3 4 years back, we suffer from the, there are lots of pandemic has been there, which is known as the pandemic, biggest pandemic which we come across is your COVID. So the person who has been earlier has the exposure of COVID-19, in those who got reinfected, their bodies get recovered much faster because they know how to deal with such type of pathogen. In short, whenever any foreign particles enter in our body will memorize how, like, this particle has been entered, we have destroyed this cells this way. So in future similar kind of pathogen enters in our body, it will destroy it. It's like बच्चों आपको पहले से आपको कुछ क्वेश्चन पेपर क्वेश्चन दिए गए, अगर आपने वो क्वेश्चन अच्छे से किए और इफ यू गेट अ सिमिलर काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चन इन योर एग्जाम एज वेल, यू शोज द क्विकर रिस्पॉन्स। समझो कि आपने कुछ प्रैक्टिस क्वेश्चन पेपर में कुछ 3 या 4 क्वेश्चन सॉल्व किए और उसी वही क्वेश्चंस अगर आपको बोर्ड के एग्जाम में आते, so your response will be much faster than the earlier one. So you can recognize, you memorize the things because अरे ये तो क्वेश्चन मैंने पहले सॉल्व किया, तो it will be like that one. So the points which need to come, we need to focus like simple. The first and most important particle, it is a specific. It body will show the specific response to the specific pathogen. Every pathogen has a different kind of response. Then it's come to the diversity. Yes, different pathogens are there. Body's response will be different way. It will not be like that. Same, like suppose as I earlier said, Streptococcus pneumoniae is there. Klebsiella, for the example, E. coli is there. Amoeba is there. So every pathogen, for every pathogen, body shows different kind of response. In fact, body will recognize which are our body's own cell, which are the foreign cells, or they will target or destroy only foreign cells. There will be no injury or no damage to the happen to the self cells. Then its last point is memory cells. So whenever a person get exposed to the any particle in future, if a similar kind of pathogen get re-exposure to the person, will show the much faster response than that of the earlier one. Okay. So your acquired immunity. Yeah. Okay, so we'll talk about the specifically acquired immunity, and the it has been like it has been categorized in two ways. Specifically मैं बोलूँगा exposed, naturally get infection, get by the exposing to the any microorganisms, and body will respond. So antibody against such pathogen is known as your active acquired immunity. So when talk about the artificially acquired immunity, so in the vaccine we take the vaccinations of various to control or prevent certain disease. So in that cases what we do, let's take an example of polio. So polio vaccine has been given to the, it's a oral vaccine which has been given to the children who are below 5. So we introduce partially inactive, say partially active or inactive virus, poliomyelitis virus to the individual children, and the body will respond, body will fight against that. So that way we are artificially acquired the all the vaccines which are there, most of the time they are the one which will develop the antibodies by exposing the artificially exposing the bacteria pathogen. We are developing or we are triggering immune system and asking it to release the antibodies. So when talk about the passive immunity, so host is directly get exposed to the antibodies, where in example take an example natural passive, when talk about natural passive immunity, the first and most important example, during the development placenta, through the placenta there are certain antibodies has been transferred from the maternal blood to the fetus. So that is one example. Second, during during feeding lactation period, so first milk, that is colostrum, consists of high amount of antibodies from the maternal body to the, and which will be directly given to the baby. So at that time this also consists of your natural passive, that is example of your natural passive immunity. So when talk about the artificial passive immunity, where here what happened now, we already develop certain antibodies, and the person who, so take an example of COVID. In COVID, you must have noticed lots of people who has been infected with the COVID, and lots of people who has been already recovered. So the person who has already recovered recently, his body will be having the antibodies quite high number. So in that cases, those who are critically ill, they are not able to give the proper response. In that cases, what will do, the person who has recently recovered, suppose this is a person uh, age around 65 years, having a blood group of A, he is being in critical condition, his body's response is not that great, and there is a person who has been recently recovered, he is also having a A positive blood group. So in that cases, what we'll do, we took the blood plasma from the person who has been recently recovered, so that his body will be having a high amount of antibodies, and that antibodies through the plasma it will be transferred to the individual, and this individuals will shows the greater response. The greater response. Another example, after dog bite, we take the rabies vaccine, or sorry, rabies like anti-rabies serum, which also consists of your antibodies against your rabies virus. So these are the certain things like these are obtained this for the rabies antibodies which are obtained from the hyperimmunized like horses. The antibodies has been like in specifically in those horses, we introduce the rabies virus, the body antibodies will be developed into the horse, and these hyper or super immunized horses, the antibodies which has been required from there, which will be transferred to the our body. So in that cases where a dog bite is there, with our doctor asks us to take the 3 to 5 injections. So that are nothing but the which consist of antibodies against the rabies. So this is all about your immunity. So till now we have been able to cover up the what is immunity, what are the antigen, what are antibodies, then the types of immunity, which is your, and then specifically in that to be a acquired and acquired immunity we consist of cover up the like your the one types of like your active immunity, passive immunity, that to be in active, naturally acquired immunity, artificially acquired active immunity. Sorry, here it will be active immunity. Okay, this is all about the your basic type of immunities. So next topic is there which we will be going to cover today. Specifically, we'll cover different type of cell. So till now, if you have any doubt, you can comment down in comment, post your doubts so that I can clear it. Any doubt, students? Let me check any doubts are there. Let's wait for 2 minutes. We'll check any doubts are there so we can cover it. Okay. सो दो नाउ बच्चों हम लोग फोकस करेंगे स्पेसिफिकली देर आर द सेल्स ऑफ द इम्यून सिस्टम व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट द सेल्स ऑफ द इम्यून सिस्टम वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ सेल फर्स्ट द cells which we are going to cover today is your lymphocytes. Lymphocytes are the one which will arise from the stem cells or hemocytoblasts and they mature at different region. On the basis of their maturation or differentiation they have been categorized into T lymphocytes and the B lymphocytes. Specifically, when we talk about the T lymphocytes, they undergo differentiation into the thymus gland under the influence of thymosin hormone. So they are the one. So this is the known as the cell-mediated immune response, also known as they form the cell-mediated immune response. So when we talk about the B lymphocytes, they undergo differentiation in gut association of the basal lymphoid tissue like your Peyer's patches as well as the your tonsils. In short, some books it is also given they undergo differentiation into the bone marrow. That's why they are known as the that's why they are known as the B lymphocytes. Specifically, when we talk about this one, they are also known. They are from the humoral, that is antibody-mediated immune response. So that's why they are categorized under the AMIS. So let's learn how the different types of lymphocytes work. So we'll first cover up the how the T lymphocyte works. Mechanism of response of T lymphocytes. So T lymphocytes. So they come in contact with antigen and forms clones of T cells. So there are four type of cells. First, helper T cells. Second, killer T cells. Third, suppressor T cells. And fourth one is your memory T cells. They sensitize helper T cells to produce lymphokines. Direct attack on foreign cells. It will suppressor T cells suppress the entire immune system against attack on own body cells. When we talk about memory T cells, these are the previously sensitized cell which retain memory, sensitization memory, for long time. Okay, so we talk about the specifically how the T cells respond to the specific any foreign particle. Whenever any infection happens, so our T lymphocytes comes in contact with the antigen. As soon as comes in touch, it will form the clones of these T cells. Or there are four types of T cells which are found. Specifically, helper T cells. Helper T cells will be sensitized T cells to produce the specific lymphokines, and these lymphokines will I would say these lymphokines will work by the proliferation of the other T cells and activates the B lymphocytes as well, and that way. Now other type of cells are the killer T cells. These killer T cells are the one which will come directly attack on the foreign cells, by they will comes in contact with the foreign cells. So suppose this is a foreign cell, or our T cells come in contact with the foreign cells, and they will release certain perforins, and that perforins will form a hole, or like a hole into the organism or the pathogen, so that the structure of the cell will become unstable and it will be get killed. Okay, the suppressor T cells, yes, this plays an important role. Whenever any foreign particles enter in our body, our immune system is highly active and it will try to attack on the foreign particle. There are high chances that it may attack our own body cells. At that time the suppressor T cells comes into the action. This suppresses the entire immune system, so that they will not attack on our own body cells. There will be no destruction to the own body cells. And memory T cells are the ones, suppose as I earlier said, the infection which has been a person who has been already getting infected with certain disease. So after once he get infected, when he get reinfection, the memory cell which are already sensitized, they get resensitized, they keep the sensitization memory, so for longer duration time they know how to fight against such infection. So in future similar kind of infection happens, so it will comes into action and it will show the response the similar way which way it earlier shows. So that way we can say कि helper T cell will sensitize the help other cells to produce the lymphokines, and that lymphokines will activate these things. They will proliferate killer T cells, suppressor T cells, memory cells. They will also do the also stimulates the B lymphocytes and also stimulates the macrophagic cells. Then killer T cells, they will directly attack on these cells. They destroy like invading microbes, our body's own cells which are about, they are already cell debris is there. Then the cancer cells, these are the things which has been directly attacked by the killer T cells. So killer T cells will goes and bound to the antigen, and they will release certain chemicals known as perforins, and these chemicals will form a hole into the pathogen or antigen, and it will destruct it. After that, we are having suppressor T cells. Suppressor T cells, as are by word by name only, they are the one who will suppress the immune response, so that body's own cell won't be damaged. And lastly, memory T cells, they are the already having the, like these are the previously sensitized cells, so in future they retain the sensitization memory for longer duration of similar kind of infection happens, so they will could able to respond or work by the much faster ways. ओके बच्चों, सो उसके बाद अगर हम लोग देखेंगे, सो अभी तक हम लोगों ने कवर अप किया बी लिम्फोसाइट्स, टी लिम्फोसाइट्स कैसे काम करता है. इसके बाद हम लोग फोकस करेंगे बच्चों बी लिम्फोसाइट के एक्शन के ऊपर. Let me. Okay, Bachcho. So how the like mechanism of action of B lymphocytes? So B lymphocytes are the one which will be like the one which are sensitized by the helper T cells, और helper T cells जैसे इसे जैसे हम लोगों ने देखा था helper T cells तीन चीजों को एक्टिवेट करते हैं. पहला चीज हमारे it will activate or sensitize the other helper cells. It will start to sensitize the B cells as well as it will start to sensitize the macrophagic cells. सो नाउ जब जैसे ही इन्फेक्शन हुआ हमारे बॉडी में हमारे हेल्पर T सेल्स ने बी लिम्फोसाइट्स को एक्टिवेट कर दिया या सेंसिटाइज कर दिया. वंस दे सेंसिटाइज, इनका सबसे बड़ा खासियत होता है दे मल्टीप्लाई वेरी रैपिडली. वंस दे मल्टीप्लाई वेरी रैपिडली दे विल फॉर्म देयर मल्टीपल क्लोन्स. These clones are of two types. One are the plasma cells and the memory B cells. Memory B cells will be the one which will keeping in memory how to fight against the infection. And the plasma cells which are formed, they will produce a specific type of glycoprotein. And this glycoprotein known as antibody. This is known as antibody. These antibodies work by the three different ways. So how it functions? So first and most important, it will like the agglutination. Agglutination means it will aggregates like, so there is an infection like causing organism in there, so it will causes the aggregation mass like structure which will be like there, like agglutination of the same, and it will activate, and once it has been highlighted, so macrophagic cell or phagocytic comes and destroys it. It will be like that one. Second, opsonization. So what do you mean by opsonization? So when we talk about opsonization, it's like, so secondly, so like consider this is the foreign particle which has been there, so it will form a coating over it. It will form a coating over it so that it will be get highlighted, or the macrophagic cell or phagocytic cell will come and it will kill it or engulf it. So here they are forming the aggregated mass. This aggregated mass which will be highlighted and the phagocytes comes and destroy it. Again here they will form a coating around the surrounding the and foreign particles so that it will be get highlighted, and the phagocytic cell like macrophages will come and engulf it, and lastly neutralization, they will release certain, so whatever toxins which have been released by the pathogen or antigens, they will nullify the effect or neutralize the effect of that chemical. So the antigenic response will be nullified by these antibodies. So बच्चों हम लोग टी लिम्फोसाइट्स बी लिम्फोसाइट्स का दोनों का मोड ऑफ एक्शन देगा. स्पेसिफिकली अगर मैं बोलूंगा इनमें अगर आपको देखना है तो ये चीज हमेशा देखना, टी लिम्फोसाइट्स बी लिम्फोसाइट्स में क्या होता है, दोनों का मोड ऑफ एक्शन टोटली अलग है थोड़ा. पहला हमारा सबसे पहला अगर देखा जाए तो हेल्पर टी 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 लिम्फोसाइट्स में हमारे चार टाइप के सेल पाए जाते हैं. अगर उसमें मैं देखूं तो चार टाइप के सेल में अगर हम लोग देखेंगे, पहला आएगा हेल्पर टी सेल्स जो कि हमारा एक्टिवेट और सेंसिटाइज करता है बाकी के टी सेल्स को, उसके साथ सेंसिटाइज करता है बी लिम्फोसाइट्स को और सेंसिटाइज करता है हमारे फैगोसाइटिक सेल्स को. सेकेंड जो हमारा है किलर टी सेल्स. किलर टी सेल्स जो होता है डायरेक्टली अटैक करता है फॉरेन पार्टिकल को, इट विल बी डायरेक्टली अटैक करके डिस्ट्रॉय कर देगा. तीसरा है हमारा सप्रेसर टी सेल्स. सप्रेसर टी सेल्स क्या करेगा, सप्रेसर टी सेल्स विल सप्रेस आवर इम्यून रिस्पॉन्स so that there will not be any harm to our own body cells. और फोर्थ वन इज योर मेमोरी टी सेल्स. मेमोरी टी सेल्स क्या करता है बच्चों कि ये हमारे बॉडी में जो मेमोरी होता है इन्फेक्शन के अगेंस्ट फाइट करने का, it will keep it retained for the longer duration of time, will be for the longer duration of time, that will happen with the it. और जब बात आती है बी लिम्फोसाइट्स की, जैसे मैंने हम लोग ने अभी बोला था टी लिम्फोसाइट्स, स्पेसिफिकली मैं बोलूंगा हेल्पर टी सेल्स हमारे जो होते हैं वो सेंसिटाइज एस्ट्रोन होते हैं, वो सेंसिटाइज करते हैं हमारे बी सेल्स को। बी सेल्स का खासियत होता है ये बहुत रैपिडली मल्टीप्लाई करती है, जैसे रैपिडली मल्टीप्लिकेशन होगा इनका, दे विल फॉर्म द क्लोन्स ऑफ इच, खुद के क्लोन्स बनाएंगे, क्लोन्स बनाएंगे तो एक बनेगा हमारा प्लाज्मा सेल, दूसरा होगा मेमोरी बी सेल। सो अगर प्लाज्मा सेल्स की बात करें हमारा स्पेसिफिकली, ये प्रोड्यूस करेगा हमारा स्पेसिफिक प्लाज्मा सेल्स, हमारे स्पेसिफिक ग्लाइकोप्रोटीन को प्रोड्यूस करेगा, और जिसे हम लोग कहेंगे, इसे हम लोग कहेंगे एंटीबॉडीज। ये जो एंटीबॉडीज होती है, ये एंटीबॉडीज तीन वे से काम करेगी। सबसे पहला काम कैसे काम करेगी बच्चों, पहला काम करेगा ये हमारा बाय दी अग्लूटिनेशन। अग्लूटिनेशन मतलब क्या, जितने भी हमारे फॉरेन पार्टिकल्स है उसे अग्लूट करेगा, एक जगह जमा करेगा, जमा करने के बाद वंस इट गेट एग्रीगेटेड सो इट विल बी गेट हाइलाइटेड, और हाईलाइट होने के बाद और फेगोसाइटिक सेल्स विल कम्स और engulf it। दूसरी चीज ये क्या करेगा, ऑप्सोनाइजेशन से काम करेगा। ऑप्सोनाइजेशन मतलब क्या, पहला चीज सबसे मोस्ट इंपोर्टेंट क्या, ये हमारा फॉरेन पार्टिकल इट विल फॉर्म अ कोटिंग ऑन इट, सो दैट कोटिंग फॉर्म होने से इट विल बी हाईलाइटेड, ये हाईलाइट हो जाएगा कि बाबा ये वाला सेल से, ये फॉरेन सेल से हमें इसे डिस्ट्रॉय करना है, सो ये दैट वे वहां पे काम करेगा। न्यूट्रलाइजेशन से बच्चों क्या करेगा, जो भी हमारे केमिकल रिलीज हुए, जो भी हमारे केमिकल यहाँ पे रिलीज हुए, उन केमिकल को यहाँ पे ये क्या करेगा, नलीफाई करेगा, मतलब कि हमारे एंटीजन ने जो भी केमिकल रिलीज किया उस केमिकल को ये नलीफाई करेगा बाय इट्स ओन सिक्रेशन। समझो बच्चों, ऐसे तीन वे से काम करता है। ओके, फिर जो हमारा दूसरा एक लास्ट सेल जो बचा है वो है हमारा, ओके, सो नेक्स्ट सेल्स आर योर एंटीजन प्रेजेंटिंग सेल्स। बच्चों एंटीजन प्रेजेंटिंग सेल्स जो होते हैं ये हमारा क्या करता है, जो हमारा इन्वेडिंग पैथोजन रहेगा, एंटीजन रहेगा, उसे ये प्रोसेस कर देगा एंगल्फ करके। दूसरी चीज क्या करेगा, ये जो हमारा प्रोसेस एंटीजन है उस प्रोसेस एंटीजन को हाईलाइट करेगा खुद के सरफेस के ऊपर। अभी जाहिर सी बात है, एक एंटीजन प्रेजेंटिंग मतलब दिस इज द वन व्हिच इज हाईलाइटिंग द एंटीजन ऑन द सरफेस, इससे क्या होगा बच्चों, हमारा जो टी सेल्स है दे गेट सेंसिटाइज। और आपको पता है जैसे ही हमारे टी सेल्स से किसी भी एंटीजन को देखा या उसने सेंस किया, सेंसिटाइज किया, इट विल गोइंग टू प्रोड्यूस द, इट विल गो बाय वर्किंग बाय द प्रोड्यूसिंग अगेन हेल्पर टी सेल्स क्या हो जाएंगे, एक्टिवेट हो जाएंगे, और दे विल एक्टिवेट द फर्दर टी सेल्स, जैसे कि हमारा किलर टी सेल्स हो सकता है या फिर हमारा सप्रेसर टी सेल्स। किलर टी सेल्स को एक्टिवेट कर देगा और किलर टी सेल्स यहाँ पे आके उसे डिस्ट्रॉय कर देगा। ऐसे हमारा काम करता है एंटीजन प्रेजेंटिंग सेल्स। ओके बच्चों, आज आज हम लोग ने थ्योरी पार्ट कवर अप कर लिया। सो कल के लेक्चर में हम लोग जब नेक्स्ट लेक्चर में आएंगे, विल स्टार्ट विद सम ऑफ द एमसीक्यू एंड विल फिनिश अप इसके रिलेटेड जो भी हमारे एमसीक्यू रहेंगे वो कवर अप कर लेंगे। उसके बाद फाइनली हम लोग इसके में आगे बढ़ेंगे, हमारे विल कवर अप दी एंटीजन एंटीबॉडी कॉम्प्लेक्स का स्ट्रक्चर क्या होता है, और विल कवर अप दी इन्फेक्शन पार्ट जो होता है हमारे, वो पार्ट हम लोग कवर अप कर लेंगे बच्चों। थैंक यू।